Hey guys, it's Megan. In today's video, I'll be showing you my February bullet journal setup. January just went by so fast, and I'm pretty much failing at all my New Year's resolutions so far, but it's fine, you know. We're just gonna do another bullet journal video so I can just kind of pretend that I have my life together. So, with all that being said, let's just get into it. I like to start out each month by making a cover page. This honestly isn't the most necessary thing in the world, but I like doing them because it looks cute, makes a good thumbnail, nice picture for Instagram, and it kind of helps you establish your theme for the month. I started by printing out this envelope template, which you can find on my website. I scaled the PDF down a little bit, about 10% less than what it normally was, so that it would fit on my page. I cut out the template, traced around it onto a piece of light pink paper, then cut that out and folded in the edges. I always like to use a ruler as a guide to make folding it a little bit easier. And it might be a good idea to mark the top and bottom flaps of your envelope, but it's really not that hard to figure out. Once the envelope was folded, I attached the bottom and the sides with a glue stick. I really love the look of recycled paper bags in bullet journals, so I used one for the background of my cover page. I cut a piece of white paper to fit inside the envelope and wrote February at the top with a little calendar underneath. To put everything together, I stuck the white piece of paper in the envelope and used a little piece of tape to secure it. Then I covered the back with glue and stuck it down. I thought the page looked a little bit plain, so I cut out a heart from some red paper to be sort of like the seal on an envelope. I added a few extra details with my Crayola Super Tips and Micron pens as well. I feel like this is a theme that anyone can do, even if you think that you can't draw. I'm pretty sure almost everyone can draw a heart, and the rest of it was just kind of cutting things out of paper. So here's how the finished page turned out. It's pretty simple, and the theme that I went with definitely isn't the most original, but I actually really like it. And the envelope makes a little pocket, so if you, I guess, need to put anything in there, you can, so that's cool. On the opposite page, I made a calendar. I kind of forgot to do this in my January spread at first, so I made sure to plan it out a little more this time. In January, I went with more of a vertical calendar, so I wanted to see if a horizontal one would work better this time. I actually use this page a lot, so I might try and spread it over 2 pages next month. I wanted to do something a little bit fancier instead of just writing the numbers, so I used a hole punch to punch out little circles from an old grocery bag and attached them with a glue stick. And after everything was glued on, I wrote on the numbers with a Micron pen. I feel like this would have looked better if I would have used like a white or a pink gel pen so that it would stand out a little bit more, but I like the idea of using the hole punches. You could also use the hole punch as a stencil with like the little part that you cut out. That would probably be easier if you don't feel like gluing on all the little circles. I glued on a few scraps of pink paper to make a border, and cut out a few hearts to cover up the seam where the papers meet. And here's how the calendar page turned out. Something that I started doing last month is that I'll write video ideas on these little post-it notes, and then I'll put them on the day that I want to upload, but if I change my mind and want to do something else, or if it doesn't get done and I have to move it to another day, I can just easily move things around. These post-it notes are a little bit too big for the boxes, so I ended up having to cut them down a little bit, but this system has worked really well so far. And speaking of post-it notes, I wanted to find a better way to store mine. I have this desk organizer that I made in another video, and I thought that it would make sense to store the post-its on the left side of it. I cut a scrap piece of paper to fit on the side of the organizer, and then took another piece of scrap paper to glue on the back to make it double-sided. This was the perfect opportunity to test out my new laminator, so I stuck the paper in a laminating pouch and fed it through. I wanted to punch a hole at the top, but that was not happening, so I used an X-Acto knife to cut a small square out at the top instead. Then I used my hot glue gun to stick the post-it notes on. They didn't all fit, but it's fine. I decided where I wanted it to hang on the desk organizer and stuck in a push pin. Since the pin went through the cardboard pretty far, I used scissors to bend it back a little. Then I covered the end of the pin with some hot glue to secure it. I covered that with a piece of duct tape so that it would blend in a little better. And now I have the perfect place to store my post-it notes. This would work really well to store your post-its on a corkboard or something too. Something that I started doing last month, which I actually really like, is this 1 line a day page. I've surprisingly been really good about doing this so far. I only missed one day, which was January 17th, so now we'll never know what I did that day because I honestly cannot remember. I feel like this is kind of just a nice thing to do if you want to remember what you did each day, but you don't have time to sit down and actually write about it. I've honestly never been a huge journaling person, like even bullet journaling. I've been doing a lot of videos on it, but I've always just been like, who has time for that? But really, if you take like one day to just set everything up, which for me, this probably took me about 5 hours, which seems like a lot, but you obviously don't have to do it all at once. And then once you have everything set up, it just takes about 5 minutes each day to fill it out. And this has actually been a lot more useful than I thought it would be. I mean, I guess we'll see if I'm still saying that in like September, but for now, it's working pretty good. So to decorate this page, I just ripped up a few pieces of that brown paper and the pink paper from the first page, and then I cut out a bunch of hearts from the pink paper and just kind of put them on there. I don't know, here's how the finished page turned out. It's cute, I like it. The next page that I did is probably the most time consuming out of all of them, which is a habit tracker. This is another one that I did in January that I'm actually really surprised that I filled it out. I didn't do every single thing every day, but I filled in the boxes, so that's a start. I changed up the layout a little bit this month, and I'd made everything so that it was all vertical instead of having like some of it horizontal and some of it vertical like it was last month. I put the more personal self-care type habits at the top, and I kept most of them the same, but I added one and I changed one of them. And I put the little social media like habit trackers below that because, like I said, kind of failed at my New Year's resolution so far, but there's always next month. Which, comment down below, have you guys given up on your New Year's resolutions already, or have you stuck to it? I decorated this page pretty much the same way that I did the other one. I just ripped off some of that brown paper and cut out a few more hearts out of the pink paper. I decided that I wanted to change one of the habits, and a really easy way to do that is to just cut out a little piece of computer paper or scrap paper or something, glue that on there, and then just write whatever you need to on top of it. You can color over it. It all works out. And here's what the page ended up looking like. The next 2 pages are for video ideas. I only had 1 page for video ideas in January, and that did not work out at all. I filled it up so fast. See, I always have plenty of ideas, but the issue is that they're not all good ideas. That and the fact that there's only so many hours in a day, so by the time I do get around to something, the trend might be over or it might be the wrong season. But anyways, I just kept this page really simple. Here's how the finished page turned out. And I like using that sticky note method for these kinds of pages, kind of like I did for the calendar. One, because it helps me not run out of space, and also because when I go to film the video, I can just move the sticky note over to my weekly spread so I can check off each thing that I need to do for each video. Next, I did a page for Instagram and blog ideas. And honestly, I don't really need the Instagram ideas one. I kind of just take pictures for that. I probably should plan them out a little bit better though, so who knows, maybe I'll use it this month. I feel like I don't really need to explain how I decorated these. It's literally the same thing that I'm doing the whole entire video. I don't think I actually posted anything at all on my blog in January, which is awful because in December, I was like, yes, I'm gonna post once a week on my blog, twice a week on YouTube. We're gonna do this, and did we? No, we did not. And finally, we have the weekly spread. This one is kind of similar to last month's, but I changed it around a little bit. I like to do 1 page per week, and I know some people will spread it out over 2 pages or even more than that, but I like to keep things simple so that I'll be more likely to use it. On the left, I have boxes for YouTube, Instagram, and my blog, and in there I'll just write down what I need to do for each one during the week. I drew these to look like paper sticking out of an envelope so that it would kind of go with the cover page. And on the right, I made a box for each day of the week. I colored the background red and added some more of that ripped paper at the top. I wrote the date with a micron pen at first, but I ended up changing it later. I colored the envelopes pink and the hearts red to match the cover. I also put some pink in the little days of the week thing. I decided that I didn't like the micron pen, so I went over it with a light pink Posca pen instead. And I thought that the background looked a little bit too plain, so I added some hearts with a white gel pen. I cut out a few more pink hearts, and here's how my weekly spread turned out. I don't know how I feel about the red in the background, but overall it's okay. I realized that the 2nd is a Sunday though, so I'll probably end up starting this on the 3rd, but it's fine. And I did the exact same thing on the next 3 pages, so I'd be ready to go for the rest of the month. The last thing to do was to fill in my themes tracker at the front of my journal. Let me know which theme you think I should do for March. So that was everything in my February bullet journal setup. Let me know which page was your favorite, and if you started a bullet journal in 2020. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like this one. My merch, my website, and all of my social media will be linked down below. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!